Oh, my homies relish in my growth with me. It's been a day. If you were here before, little fibbing, I ended up taking an extra rest day. Big reason for that was I myself, when I'm going through a shoulder injury, as I have in the past couple of weeks, not anything crazy if you've been around, it's just like a pretty deep strain in my rear delt. I have that first week period, or just whatever first phase of the injury, where there's more pinching and shocking type pain that's relative to the injury, that is a sign, at least to me, that you shouldn't be lifting. It's just body weight stretching and maybe some resistance band stuff to get the good blood flow through it. But other than that, you don't really need to do much. It needs to heal in that moment. After that phase, in phase 2 of the injury, which is what I'm in right now, there is mass amounts of soreness, and a little knot will well up right where the initial strain or pull was. And obviously that's the pull. The knot doesn't have to form. It's dependent on the injury, but it was so deep that a knot did end up forming. And that's why I took the extra rest day. I felt it last time I worked out, and I wanted to make sure I gave it a good rub down to try to get rid of it as much as I can, or at least make it a bit more comfortable, because rubbing, like putting that pressure on a knot in your muscles, will make it feel like that initial phase 1 pain, but just rubbing any sort of pressure onto it doesn't even have to be with ice. Just getting the blood flow through that thing that has the most sensitivity is what's going to make the lactic acid move through it a bit quicker, so that you can recover at a more efficient rate, and that's ended up holding true. The extra rest day was definitely worth it. I feel a lot better today shoulder-wise. It's just a lot more confident, not so much of any pinching, shocking type pain. It's literally just full soreness. You kind of revert back to infant type strength every time you pull a muscle, even if it's for a very short period of time. You still got baby strength, Obviously, I'm still lifting heavy weights, but compared to my normal self, I have to take it very easy. I have to do deload weights that are normally very easy to whip as much as I want. Today, I actually had a sort of metamorphosis, some like in the moment, real progression. And I don't mean strength-wise or confidence-wise or whatever, technique-wise, which is so rare. Especially the longer you do a sport, when it comes to lifting in general, technical feats of growth, especially in that moment when you really visually see it and feel it at the exact same time, is very, very rare. It does not happen often at all, because you've been doing it so long that even if your form is inefficient, like with my squat and bench the past couple months that I've been fixing, you don't realize it until the weight gets so heavy that you have to adhere to it. And it's really cool to see how there's such a domino effect, it's like a butterfly effect from me figuring out that my feet positioning on the squat walkout mixed with my setup on my bench, my feet also not aligning or my shoulders aligning properly, has all led to several inefficiencies and imbalances in my Olympic lifting that I never had really seen before. Sure, I've had other injuries like with the bone growth on my left hand that, made my mobility a little bit, lacking, but that shouldn't have been what had really made it change so much. It's just over time I got so used to doing something that felt natural that I never thought to question it. And now that I finally taken the effort to do my resistance band workouts to stabilize my left shoulder and get everything really even and make all of my technique on my power lifts even, it is now transferring over to my Olympic lifts, which I really never saw coming. It's so cool how no matter how long you do this type of stuff, you will always have to adhere and change in a way that you've never experienced before, whether you're getting stronger or weaker, older, whatever. I don't care what the reason is, you're going to have to adapt at some point. And it is such a cool experience when you get to actually feel it in that moment. My first couple warm-up sets, because I'm really hammering the volume this week. It's all triples on Olympic lifts, sets of 5 on power lifts, like the normal volume week would be. But after my main 2 warm-up lifts that are really easy, like 95 pounds and 135 pounds on the snatch, I'm only going up 5 pounds or 10 pounds at a time compared to my normal 20-pound jumps. And it is a world of difference. I think I did 9 triples on snatch today, and it hit me like a truck. But more importantly, on those first few warm-up sets, doing my normal grip on snatch, it just felt bad on my wrist again on that bone growth that I had so long ago. It didn't feel like I was catching it properly. Everything felt slow. I felt like I couldn't fully rotate my shoulder and lock out where I needed to. And that's been an issue for a long time. And I've been mentioning it a little bit. As I've been stabilizing my left shoulder, it's been getting easier to lock out without having to over pull with my left trap. Now, I decided in the moment, I think it was at maybe 155. The first rep felt atrocious. Did not feel good. I was doing my normal grip. I narrowed my grip by half an inch, about a finger's width. And it's insane to me, the world of difference that I felt. Instantaneous relief on my shoulder, immediate external rotation, fully locking out, no pain, getting right in the hole when I want to, feeling every single step of it the way I should be doing every day. And it was in that one rep, that one set, that really showed to me how the past couple of years of my lifting at this wider grip has not only been inefficient to what my lifting is, but it's been allowing my imbalance to prolong itself, you know? And like my bench and my squat, it just got so heavy to a point with everything else stacking on top of each other that I'm now able to feel and see that lack of strength that I have to where I had to do something different. And if you pause the video from my setup positioning in the snatch right before I pull it up to the catch position, it is nearly identical. And that is exactly what you want. There's no jumping forward. My chest is fully vertical. I'm sitting right in the ass-to-grass position without any lack of strength or straining in my low back. Just everything is right where it's supposed to be. You know, it's so funny. After so many years of doing snatches, it feels like I'm only just now finding my perfect setup. And again, it's day one. Who knows? It might not be perfect in the long run. But I need to ride this high while I have it. I need to understand this change in my lifts while it's there. Because even if it's not going to be my long-term change, it could be the next thing that makes me realize what the better change is going to be after this, you know? I only got up to 205 on snatch today for a triple, but with all the sets, it was nuts. It was throwing me through a loop, and it felt great, honestly. It was really nice to challenge myself like that. And especially with how much my shoulder's been aching the past couple weeks. Last time I was in, I couldn't even do 205, barely 185 without it feeling absolutely abysmal. And that gratification it gives you when you have that sort of, you know, cocoon moment, you know, the butterfly sprouting out, you really understand exactly what you're supposed to be doing in that moment. You know, I didn't have to question anything. Every second of the pull, I could understand where I wanted to catch it. No, it was not perfect by any means. I had some lean forwards. I walked forward on a couple of the heavier sets, but that's normal. I haven't done this heavy a weight this well in weeks, and I've never done this technique before. The last time I tried to go more narrow, I went really narrow, and it was not good. But this little middle ground that I never have tried before is exactly where it feels like it's supposed to be. It's not perfect. I have to change my setup a little bit. My timing's going to be a little off because it's something I've never done before, but it's just more reason to give it even more effort in the upcoming lifts, you know? Overhead squat, I had like so little energy from all the sets I was doing. And, you know, I had the idea of going to 2 plates, maybe 235, just to like even out the effort, but it just, with the lockout overhead alone, that was just putting so much strain on the rear delt that I just didn't want to push it too hard. Still got to 215 for a set of 5. I'm very happy with that with the 10-pound jumps. But the biggest thing I really want to latch on to is while the lockout, you know, the overhead jerk is not strong enough yet to do anything heavy, the reps were perfect on that last set. And I was doing the more narrow grip. It just felt natural. My shoulders were able to fully externally rotate. My chest was fully upright. My feet weren't too wide. I was sitting perfectly ass to grass right where I needed to be, regardless of the lack of core strength that I typically have. And that is an incredible feat, man. It's incredible. And it's snatch pulls as well. I only got up to like 305. I'm not trying to go heavy right now for a triple, but it's the confidence. It's the assuredness in my technique that's important. It's these small yet super significant moments of growth, progression in your technique that will dictate how well you can do in the next years of your career lifting. It's so integral to at least give it that effort, give it that attempt at seeing what might work. Because I don't know if this narrow grip is going to be good in the future. I haven't done anything heavy with it. There's a good chance that it doesn't feel good when I start throwing 245 around again. But I don't care. It's progress. It's even if the experience isn't enriching my perfect technique, it's enriching the knowledge that I need to get to that perfect technique. And of course, it's never going to be perfect, but anywhere near that can get me closer and closer to just being able to do whatever I want every single day without even a thought of potentially being injured. And obviously, I'm always going to be at risk for injury. I'm not saying that I'm not, but it's the ideology, it's the mindset that I'll always be able to push through it and never be at the same risk as I am today, you know? Even though I've been lifting for so many years, I've been lifting for almost 8 years, Olympic lifting almost for 4, and it's still not that much time. It really isn't. I haven't even lifted a decade yet. And like the people who go on substances like TRT or steroids or stuff, I don't think it's worth getting on it unless you're at least in your 30s, you know, because biologically we're meant to put on strength throughout our younger ages. You know, why not take your time a little bit? Why rush one of the best and greatest passions you can have in your life that enriches your daily positive environment every single day, no matter how bad a day you have, and just go at your body's natural pace? I'm not anywhere near what the best Olympic lifters are doing, but I'm also nowhere near my peak. And I know that for a fact. And it makes me, the excitement I have from that is second to none. I love the fact that there are still weeks like this week where I have to go back down to such a light weight because it gives me so much more room to grow and put up even more in the long run, you know? I get to revisit 2 plates again. I get to revisit 245, 255. I've still never snatched 265, but I know it's going to be there the next time I get to my peaking program. When this shoulder recovers, it's going to be insane the things that I can do, you know? These injuries aren't good to have happen all the time, but they're humbling. And you can make an injury an incredible experience by taking the time you need to recover it properly. Because any injury you ever go through, I don't care if you tear a muscle completely off the bone, any injury can make you stronger as long as you allow it to. You cannot use your normal egotistical mindset that you would on a peaking program. Like, this is why I'm destroying the volume this week. It needs to be a hammering the conditioning type of program right now until I feel at 100%. Because there is no excuse if I rush and I get even further injured. And it's funny that through all these lifts today, through all of the straining and the soreness in my rear delt, on the very last set, on this last set of snatch pulls, the very end of the day, I was at the gym for 3.5 hours. That last set was the best feeling one, where there was absolutely no doubt in my shoulder, and it felt better than when I'd walked into the gym. And that is the standard you should be upholding yourself to. You should not leave the gym feeling worse. You should leave feeling so much better. And not even just in a physical way, in a mental way. You need to be able to leave that gym, that session, and know that for a fact you're going to come back in the next day and crush it just as hard and come back next week and go even further beyond the weights that you did just now. That's the whole idea of having hope for your dream weights in the future. I have no idea what my peak will be in my life, but I don't care. Because I'm going to have a new peak every single day as long as I'm putting in the same amount of effort and passion behind these lifts. That's all I care about. Truly. Physically, again, it wasn't crazy heavy and nothing felt as strong as it's been in the past, sure. But it's the first big step of progression I've had with the snatch since the injury. You know, it feels like I'm finally starting to even everything out in this lift that I've had so many issues with in the past near 4 years of doing it, you know? And sure, I've never been coached, and maybe that would have allowed me to figure it out sooner, but it doesn't matter. Because that effort is golden. That effort is still there. It's not like it didn't happen or that it means less just because I wasn't told how to do it by somebody who's more experienced than myself. I just did it my own way. That made me the most passionate version of myself that I could be. So man, physically, I got to give it a pretty solid 8.6. Wasn't anything crazy. The snatches were definitely really difficult. I probably went even just slightly too heavy, trying to go to 205, but I wanted to give it the best effort, the best shot I had in that moment while I was feeling that good. Because I was going to stop at 155, maybe 165 with the old grip. But with that slight narrow change in the technique, it sent me to a new level in that moment. It's incredible. I love it. And that's what keeps me coming back. So mentally, 9.45 for sure. It was a great day. There was honestly barely even any homies there today. Barely anybody showed up to the gym in the first place. It was super empty compared to how it normally is. But it honestly was kind of nice to just focus on a few of the homies that were there and have a nice day for myself, amp each other up. I actually had one homie try my squat shoes out for the first time today, and as it always happens, freaked his shit out, said, I've never felt this good on a squat, and nearly PR'd without any prep. And I said, keep the shoes, man. You know, obviously if I need them back in the future, like, be a homie and slide them back maybe, but I've got 3 pairs of shoes in my possession that all still fit me. I don't want to go back to the Romalio 3s, but I have a means of lifting. If I need to use the cheaper Reebok shoes, whatever. They just need to have a platform. Does not matter what brand they are. You just need to have something that's a little elevated to sit your spine in the correct position. But it's just the passion that I saw that really amped me up as well. That gets me going the most. It was such a fun day. Tomorrow is going to be clean and jerk and back squat. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. Weight-wise, it's just going to be a feel it in the moment, especially after how hard I went today. It might need to be a bit of a lighter day on clean and jerk for sure. But back squat I could probably mess around a little bit with. And again, I don't know how it's going to feel since I'm going to have to do 10-pound jumps every set. So I'll probably have to go to I'll probably have to go to 315 on squat and then go by 5-pound jumps from there. Because if I get anywhere near 385, that would be the best, because that's a lot of volume. But either way, I'm rambling. I got to get out of here. I appreciate you guys hearing me out, yep, as I do, and I'll be back as always. Got to keep making progress. You will see me throw some heavy shit in the next couple weeks, I promise. It's gonna happen when it happens. But when it does, that's gonna be the opportunity I leap onto, that I destroy in that moment. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.